Hey y'all, my name is Mare. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking all about my 5-star predictions. So these are going to be books that I am just so excited for. I feel like 5-star prediction videos are always a little strange because you should ideally be going into every single book thinking that they're going to be 5 stars. Why else would you be reading it, right? But these are just some titles that feel really special to me. They just have a really cool synopsis, or they have very high praise. A lot of these have come from authors that I've previously read from and adored their work, so I just have a really good feeling about most of these. Well, all of these. I will say I did have like an ongoing list that I hadn't made a video for of just like different 5-star predictions, and every single book that I have read off that list so far this year has not been 5 stars. So we'll do like a little reflection once I've read most of these and see if I actually do know my taste. But the Meredith from like 2 months ago didn't, so we'll see how this goes. But I really do feel like I've picked out a really good selection here, and I'm excited to talk about all of them today. I really want to do a video where I read until I get a 5-star. There's been that kind of vlog format going around lately, and that's really exciting to me because I haven't had a lot of 5 stars lately. I feel like it's been not necessarily a bad reading year, but it hasn't been great quality. I feel like I've been reading a lot. I've already hit my Goodreads goal for the year. I want quality over quantity, that's for sure. So yeah, let's get into it. I've set this up into 3 different categories. The first of which is romance, the second of which is fantasy, and the last section will be just general fiction, just basically 2 books that didn't fit into the other 2 categories. And I think we should just start off with a bang with Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. And this is the book that I'm actually the most scared of on this list because I adore Abby Jimenez with my whole heart. Part of Your World is one of my favorite books of all time. It's probably my favorite romance book of all time. So just knowing that I have another book by her in my hands and that it could potentially mean that much to me is making me scared and not want to read it, which is very like counterintuitive, I know. And just really, really hoping that this is the book for me, right? Like I want this to be my best book of the year. I want this to be one of my favorite books of all time. And so there's a lot of pressure on this. So I don't want the book to fail at getting me a 5-star because of the pressure that I'm putting on it. So this one follows, I believe their names are Justin and Emma. Yes. And the basic premise of this is that Justin has bad luck. Every single person that he dates, as soon as they break it off, they go on and find their soulmate, and Emma has the same issue. So they decide to work together to try to break this curse, and feelings may form in between all that. I'm excited about this one. It sounds super cute. Heard great things. I just don't know when I'm gonna read it. Probably like late summer, because I feel like I need to read this in summer, obviously, but I'm just not ready. I'm not ready. Why am I not ready to read books that I think are gonna be amazing? I don't know. It's a form of self-punishment. So the second book on this list is actually one that is not out yet, Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood, and this one comes out soon in June of this year, and I'm so excited for this one because what can I say? I love me some Ali Hazelwood. I have not had a 5-star since The Love Hypothesis with her, but you know what? I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna keep trying, that's for sure. So I love The Love Hypothesis. I'm a basic girly, what can I say? I just love the way that Adam and Olive made me feel. I was swooning, I was giggling, kicking my feet, screaming, and I'm really hoping that this next set of characters can do that for me in Not in Love. Not in Love follows Rue and Eli as they have a secret love affair. Eli is basically coming into Rue's world and is pushing through a deal that is not advantageous for her. So she's got beef with Eli, and Eli really needs this deal to go through for his own personal reasons. However, he can't stop thinking about Rue. So it seems like there's going to be some hate to love, at least on Rue's side. Eli's probably going to be secretly pining for her the whole time, and it's just going to be really, really amazing and good. So I can't wait for this one. The next romance we need to talk about might be a little bit shocking for those who have been watching my channel for a long time, because I'm going to put a Christina Lauren book on here. Now I know what you're thinking. Why? I'm thinking it myself personally. The reason why I am putting The True Love Experiment on this list is because this is a companion novel to The Soulmate Equation, which is my favorite Christina Lauren book, the one I gave 5 stars to, the one that I can't stop thinking about and that I want every single Christina Lauren to be like, and I have not had that success. So I'm thinking that in the same world with these characters that were from the first book, I just might hit the jackpot. So this one follows Fizzy, who I can't remember super well. I remember the name and I remember liking her character. I believe she's like the best friend of the protagonist in The Soulmate Equation, correct me if I'm wrong. But this one is her love story, and she is a romance novelist who has never really been in love. So she's given this opportunity to work on a reality show where she has, you know, the chance to find love, and I believe it's the filmmaker who she's falling in love with. I'm doing a horrible job of explaining this, I'm sorry. Sparks fly when a romance novelist and a documentary filmmaker join forces to craft the perfect Hollywood love story, but only if they can keep the chemistry between them from taking the whole thing off script. I'm sold. I think this one is just gonna work for me because it's kind of got that quirky, goofy plot line, and it has a character that I'm already familiar with, that I liked in the first book, and it's set in the same world. So I really just love The Soulmate Equation so much, and I want every Christina Lauren book to be like that. So since this one is set in the same universe, I have super high hopes. So hopefully this one is my second 5-star from the pair. So we have one more romance on this list, and that is Last Call at the Local by Sarah Grander Ruiz. And this one is the 3rd book in the Love List and Fancy Ship series. So it's all like companion books. Usually with romances, you don't... There's a plane flying overhead. I'm sorry. Let's redo this. So with romance, you typically don't need to read them in order. It just helps, you know, get you background knowledge about the characters. And it's been a while since I've read the first 2 books in the series because I read them as they were pretty much coming out. So let's hope I don't need to remember a whole lot, right? But this cover, first of all, just giving me all the cozy vibes. I feel like I need to read this one in the fall with a nice cup of tea, right? Like, it just is such a gorgeous cover. I love it. I feel like I don't see a lot of green romance books either. But this one, the reason I'm so excited about this one is because I love Love Lists and Fancy Ships. It is definitely more on the women's fiction-y side of romance in my opinion, but it just made me feel everything and I loved it so much. And then I read book 2 in the series and I did not love that one so much, which I believe was Luck and Last Resorts. Really, Last Call at the Local could go either way. We could have a 5-star, we could have a 1-star in our hands, but I'm really hoping for the 5-star. So this one follows our characters Rain and Jack, and Rain is a traveling musician and she has a silly little mistake that leaves her not able to travel, so she's kind of settling down in Ireland for now at a pub that she is going to frequently, the Local, which is Jack's bar. They have ideas to kind of work together and improve the pub, so it sounds kind of cute. Like, it sounds different. I feel like I've read like a lot of like home renovation romances, but not a lot of like working together on the business side of things. So this one definitely sounds like it could be a good time. So now we need to talk about some fantasy titles. We've made it to our second category, and I am just so gosh darn excited about every single book on this list, but one that has really just been calling to me is Silver in the Bone by Alexandra Bracken. And the reason this one is just so on my radar is because I love a good Arthurian legend story. I love King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. We know this, and you'll see that pretty soon because there's another book on this list with that in it. But I just love that story. I love it. I watched Merlin when I was growing up, and that was just everything to me. So I guess like I'm just searching for that nostalgia with the books that I read now. And so this one is an Arthurian legend story, and it's written by Alexandra Bracken, who wrote Lore, which is one of my favorite books of all time. I absolutely love Lore, so honestly I don't know how I haven't read more by this author. This one follows our main protagonist Tamsin, who is a hollower, which I believe is someone who like doesn't have magical abilities, but she goes on this quest to find this secret ring that has powers from the Arthurian legend in order to save her brother, and she has to work with one of her enemies, Emrys, in order to do so. So super excited for this one. It sounds like a good time. I have heard, or like I've seen in reviews, that this one's a little bit confusing, so you know, I feel like I have to be in the right headspace for this one, but I am very excited nonetheless. I know that the second book in the series, it comes out this summer, so I'm kind of waiting just a little bit longer to read this one, so that way I have access to the next one in the series, but definitely really intrigued by this. So now, keeping with the Arthurian legend theme, because I don't shut up about books like that on my channel here. Hi. We're going to be talking about Blood Marked by Tracy Deonn, which I know is so shocking that I have not read. I was raving about Legendborn when it came out. Legendborn was like my favorite book. It still is one of my favorite books. I just have not read Blood Marked because, similar to like Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, it's like when you put so much pressure on a book and you have such high expectations, you get very nervous that it's not going to follow through. So that's my like hesitation with picking this one up right now. I really want to love it, and I'm like just scared that I'm not going to. This one is the second book in that series, and so what I think I want to do is reread Legendborn, then read Blood Marked, and then launch into the third book when that comes out, and I think that's coming out in 2025. So maybe I'll get to this one like later this year or in the beginning of next year, but I do want to read this. I do. So I'm not going to spoil what Blood Marked is about because it's a sequel, but the first book in the series, Legendborn, follows a young girl named Bree, and she joins this secret society at her university where she's doing like a student program. She's in high school, but she's like working through a college program because she's so amazing and great, and we love that for her. And she joins a secret society that actually has powers from the Knights of the Round Table, and I think, if I remember correctly, I know her mother dies in the beginning of the book, but it's kind of like going into like the mystery of like what actually happened with that. It was giving very much like City of Bones, in the fact that like you just know from page one you are going to love this book. So definitely excited to read Blood Marked. Just haven't yet because I'm scared. I'm sorry for not reading this soon, but I mean, it is a thicker book and I do have to reread Legendborn first, so I have my reasons. So the next title I want to talk about is the other one on this list that's not out yet, but it comes out during this year, and that is The Lost Story by Meg Schaefer, and this is by the author of The Wishing Game, which was one of my favorite books of 2023. I loved it. I cried. I laughed. It was just so sweet and wholesome and magical and whimsical and just everything I could possibly want from a cute little book. So I'm really excited to read The Lost Story. This one is inspired by C.S. Lewis's Chronicles of Narnia, and it follows two men who in the past went missing into this world that is like Narnia, and now in the future there's a young girl who's missing, and so they must go back into this world in order to find her. So I'm just excited. I loved Meg Schaefer's writing, and I think that she'll do a really good job with this one as well. Next, we have to talk about a book talk, booktube, book everywhere darling, and that is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. Now, I have not read anything by her before, obviously, because this is her debut, and she is just smashing it everywhere, truly. Like, I'm so proud of her. Don't know her, but like, she is just killing it, and with the debut, that's incredible, and I'm very happy with her. And it sounds like it's for good reason, because this book has some really amazing reviews. I could not resist buying the Barnes & Noble exclusive cover because of all the pink little flowers on it. I absolutely love it. I have been trying not to buy as many books lately because I just have so many books that I haven't actually read, and now that I have my Kindle, I don't even want to read a physical book anymore, and it's an ever-growing problem. But I could not resist this one. It was just so gorgeous, and it was like a year wait at the library, so I decided I deserved a little treat, you know? I deserved this, truly. And I think that I am going to be very happy with this purchase because I've just heard amazing things about this one, and I'm so excited to get into this. And I believe this one is compared to like The Hunger Games. I don't know what else it's comped to, but it's following a girl who is ordinary, right? Oh, no. Wait. Yes. There's trials, there's enemies to lovers. This one is basically about a society where if you're not magical, you don't belong, and you're like banished or killed. And so there's a girl who is hiding as a psychic even though she's an ordinary, and so she doesn't want to get killed, so she's trying to like hide her identity, and she gets launched into these trials. And I'm doing a horrible job of explaining this, but just look at the pretty cover. Next book I have to talk about, probably the most controversial one on this list. I just could not resist putting this one on the list though, because something about it just intrigues me. Something about it just makes me think, you know what, I could really love this. and that is Light Lark by Alex Astor. The reason why I think I could like this so much is it just reminds me of like the golden young adult fantasy days, right? Where there's a little cheese, their writing's not that amazing, but you got a fun premise, you got good characters, and it's a good time to be had by all. I want to go into this knowing not to expect like the most beautiful flowery writing, because I have seen like the little snippets on TikTok and things like that where the writing is just a little bit crazy. This one is about an island that appears every 100 years, and there's a competition there. Every 100 years, the island of Light Lark appears for only 100 days to host a deadly game where the rulers of 6 kingdoms fight to break their curses and win unparalleled power. To break them and save themselves and their realms, one ruler must die. So this one I've heard has a fun romance. It sounds like it has a fun competition element. To me, this is reminding me of All of Us Villains by Amanda Foody, and I did not love the execution of that one, but I loved the idea. So here's to hoping that Light Lark will come through for me. And I know I've seen the bad reviews, but I think in the right headspace where I'm just down to read like a cheesy YA fantasy, this one's gonna hit for me. So we've got one more fantasy, which is The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi. And of course I had to put this one on the list because this year has just opened my eyes up to how incredible Roshani Chokshi is as an author. So I read the Gilded Wolves trilogy at the beginning of this year, and it has quickly become one of my favorite young adult fantasy series of all time. I already want to reread it, and I read it like 2 months ago. Like, it's just that good. The characters are so real, and like you just want the best for them. And Roshani just had me crying, she had me laughing, she had me yearning. Like, I just felt all the things for these characters. So I know how great of a writer she is, and this is her adult debut, and it's a standalone, which I love, and it's so short. Like, I love a good short standalone book. That's like my favorite thing. So this one is about a marriage that is unraveled by dark secrets, a friendship cursed to end in tragedy, and the danger of believing in fairy tales. And this one's comped to Mexican Gothic and The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. So I'm in. So now we have 2 general fiction books. I didn't really have another category to put these in. So one is more mystery thriller and one is more historical literary fiction. So the mystery thriller that I'm talking about is Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll, and this one is about the women that get murdered by serial killers, that are victimized. And I feel like so often in media the focus is not on the victims, it is more on those that commit the crimes, which is not how it should be, right? So I'm definitely excited to read this one because of that. I've heard great things, great reviews. I know this one is about 2 women who are on opposite sides of the country that experience great trauma from a killer, and they work together to kind of solve this mystery. I'm just like so excited to see these women be highlighted and uplifted, and hopefully see how resilient and strong they are after going through such a traumatic experience. Last on this list, we have As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow by Zulfa Gateau. And this one, I don't know if I'll ever read this because I have heard the most gut-wrenching, sad things about this book. And listen, if a book can make you feel that, like, that's incredible. And that's a reason why I wanted to put this on this list, right? Is because I've heard just so many things about how this book has moved people, and I want that. I do. I want to be moved. I want to be crying. I want to be so impacted by these characters and their storylines that I feel those feelings. However, I don't want to feel those feelings because I don't like feeling sad. So I don't know when I'll actually pick this one up because it has to come at the right time. I don't want to read this and then like be so sad for the next week, right? So I've heard such beautiful things about this book. I've heard it's got amazing writing, amazing characters, and that it's just so moving. And so that's why it's on this list. Like, it deserves a spot on this list. And I know that when I read this, it's going to absolutely wreck me. And if a book wrecks me, 5 stars immediately. So I definitely am very intrigued by this one and I want to read it. I just don't know when that will be because I don't want to be sad. This one is about the fight for freedom in Syria, and we're following our main character Salama, who before the war had her family, had her home, and now all of that has been ripped away from her. And so now she's working in a hospital, and it's basically just going off from there and about her fighting a revolution for her country and for what is right. Without further ado, guys, those are my 5-star predictions. I think we had 12 titles, so if you've read any of these, let me know what you thought of them, if they were 5 stars for you. Did I pick well? Did I do a good job picking up 5-star predictions? I really feel like I did, because I have so many authors on here that I'm excited about, that even if they're not like a perfect 5-star for me, I think I will greatly enjoy all of these books on this list. I'm so excited to read them all. Scared to read some of them, but excited to read them all because I know how they'll move me and just make me feel all the feelings. Yeah, I'm so excited. Let me know if you guys are interested in that vlog where I'll do the reading thing, where I read books until I get a 5-star, and hopefully, you know, we read one and we're done, and that's the whole vlog, and we can just make a whole series out of it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me know what your 5-star predictions are for this year. Again, if any of these have been 5 stars for you, or if you hated them, let me know. I want all your thoughts and opinions, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye y'all.